Hello everyone, my name is Dominic, and today me and my group members will be discussing the issues facing Boeing and our recommendations for the future plan of action. Our presentation will be divided into four parts: the introduction to the problem, our recommendations for Boeing, the costs and persons involved in these recommendations, and finally, the timeline and place for these recommendations. Boeing's issue lies primarily in their inadequate control strategies. This can be shown when they fail to apply all three types of control. Firstly, Boeing failed to implement feed-forward control, which aims to prevent problems before they occur. For example, they chose not to provide full simulator training for pilots despite MCAS being a new system that required them to understand its specific features. Proper training or a thorough system review before launch could have made pilots better prepared when faced with MCAS failures. They also lacked effective concurrent control, which are procedures to correct issues during the work process. Engineers raised safety concerns about MCAS during development, but these warnings were ignored. Teams worked in isolation with each other, and critical issues flagged by engineering were not escalated at a fast enough pace after they were identified. Lastly, Boeing's feedback control, which means learning from past mistakes, was weak. After the Lion Air crash, they withheld information about MCAS and made no updates to pilot manuals or training. Instead of addressing the problem, they continued operations until a second crash from Ethiopian Airlines forced them to act 5 months later, by which time more lives were already lost. Even worse, they continued to insist that the 737 MAX was still airworthy and safe to fly. Now, I will let Jay present our first recommendation that could potentially assist Boeing.
Thank you, Dominic. For our first recommendation, we suggest Boeing set up an internal safety review board. The goal here is to fix Boeing's weak escalation processes and the culture that's been putting deadlines ahead of safety. This board would be independent from profit pressures and have the authority to stop or delay production if safety concerns come up. It will bring together engineers who specialize in risk identification, middle management to keep communication clear, and upper management to make the final calls. The positive outcome is clear. Boeing can start repairing its relationship with stakeholders, regulators, and the public by showing that safety comes just as important as speed. Yes, it would mean higher costs for hiring more specialized staff, but those costs are small compared to the damage another safety incident could cause in the future. Overall, this is about changing Boeing's culture from reacting after accidents to preventing them in the first place. Next, Aurelia will present our second recommendation.
Thank you, Jay. Now I will be presenting our second recommendation, which is for Boeing to disseminate training programs for pilots in simulation training. Our goal is designed to give pilots hands-on, practical experience in dealing with potential system failures, especially in high-pressure situations. By simulating real-world challenges, we ensure pilots can react quickly, effectively, and with confidence when things go wrong in the area. Next, the team. To make this program work, we will need certified flight instructor from specialist training organizations to design and lead the simulations. We will also involve airline pilots who operate the 737 MAX, as their experience will be critical. Finally, Boeing's upper management must be directly engaged to approve, fund, and oversee the integration of this program into standard training procedures. Now, the positive possibility. By implementing this training, Boeing can significantly strengthen its credibility with both passengers and regulators. A visible commitment to safety sends a powerful message that Boeing is prioritizing lives and trust over production speed. And finally, the potential costs. We may face scheduling delays or unlike the real world if simulators availability is limited. However, this short-term inconvenience is far over by the long-term benefits of safer operations, stronger public confidence, and reduced accident risk. Next, Amanda will give the timeline and location in which these recommendations will be applied.
Thanks, Aurelia. And right now, I'll be talking about where and when the two recommendations that were just discussed by Aurelia and Jay will be conducted. Here we will have three years, which is the year 1, the launch, the year 2, the measure, and year 3 for the corrective actions. Here I'll be talking about the first recommendations first, which is the Internal Safety Review Board. So in year 1, we will begin launching the creations of the safety review boards, which will be implemented internally from Boeing's upper management and executed by the middle management. And in year 2, we will begin measuring results on how quickly were problems identified and solved in the year before and now after the creation of the review board. This will take place in Boeing's internal review team. And in year 3, if the results fall below expectations, we will then conduct changes to ensure that performance is brought up to par. This will also take place in Boeing's upper and middle management. And now I'll be talking about the second recommendations, which is a simulator training for pilots. So in year 1, which is the launch, we will begin releasing training manuals to flight schools for pilot trainings, which will be disseminated by Boeing's and executed by flight schools during simulator training. And in year 2, we will then collect or conduct feedbacks from pilots who have gone through the training and come to conclusions. And this will also take place in Boeing's relevant review teams. And in year 3, which is the last, we will then synthesize pilot feedbacks and make adjustments to establish training manuals.